Hello, IDS here with a ranking, this time, of Hero Factory. Mixing it up, why not? There are still Bionicle ones to come, of course. The Borok, I need to re-record. I have a 2002 Titans video that's sitting there that I need to re-listen to. I also think that's one I'm going to bin. And there are a few others, Rakshi, etc, etc. But, change of pace. Let's do the Hero Factory 1.0 Heroes. Hero Factory, what are my thoughts on Hero Factory? Of course, as a diehard Bionicle fan, when Hero Factory was announced, I was initially very, not wanting to accept Hero Factory. This was this was back in my CBW days. And I remember speaking to Jampot Animations at the time, and I was like, screw this damn thing. And I don't even remember this conversation, but I remember him saying, like, don't worry about it. Like, it happens. And also, we're going to get a bunch of recolors and stuff that we can use for Bionicle mocks here. And what was great about 1.0, in a sense, was we did get that. Now, the heroes that we're looking at here are basically all brand new pieces, except for the Bionicle type hand connectors and the Glatorian hands, and the Glatorian heads, of course. But especially with the villains, who, in my opinion, I don't know what happened, or was starting to happen in 2009. I feel like the seeds of it were like Tellurus, with like weird, really janky arm designs. But something happened transitioning over to Hero Factory where set designers forgot how elbows worked. So a lot of the villains of this wave are cooler in concept than they actually are as sets. Like none of them have like proper working arms in a way that an actual elbow joint should work. But anyway, that's a sidetrack to the sidetrack. Point is being like, this first wave was very much sort of a Bionicle 0.5 in a sense. There were so many recolors, especially in the villains, of classic Bionicle pieces, even masks with Hydraxon and Von Nebula. We got like Metru limbs in classic yellow, Metru limbs in Marta red with some of them. A lot of new stuff coming in. And to be honest, treating Hero Factory as a successor to Bionicle is not, in my opinion, that fair. Hero Factory, when you stack it up next to loads of story-based LEGO themes, is top-tier shit. Like, if you do it by that standard. Comparing it to Bionicle, of course, it's going to fall short. And this isn't just Bionicle bias. Bionicle just is a sprawling, really well-thought-out, pretty serious story, which is quite rare in LEGO's catalog anyway. But Hero Factory does better than most of the themes, LEGO's story-based themes that last 3 waves. It's pretty good, and especially this first wave. Of course, it was filling Bionicle's shoes, and there were a lot of things that, in my opinion, if Bionicle didn't exist, they wouldn't have done for Hero Factory, but it's great that they did do it for Hero Factory. Such as the comics, such as the books, such as some of this extraneous material that, to me, was allocated to this theme because it was the new Bionicle. Starting Hero Factory from the ground up, I don't think that they would have necessarily bothered with much of that stuff. Maybe that's conjecture on my part. And again, as Hero Factory went on, they did less and less of that. I guess because there was less of an obligation for it to be Bionicle-like, since Bionicle was dead. And unfortunately, Hero Factory, whether or not it's true or not, feels like it was a seat warmer slot. Like, Bionicle had run for 10 years, and there was this Constraction figure slot that just existed. And it kind of kept it warm until Bionicle came back. And then when Bionicle flopped, it just destroyed the slot. Like, now there is nothing. And I feel like if we wanted to restart Constraction, it would be this whole nightmare. Because there isn't this theme that already exists here where they can build upon. It would have to be done from scratch. And I don't think LEGO has any want to do that anymore. And to be honest, all things considered, I value Hero Factory over Bionicle G2. Hero Factory was doing its own thing. It wasn't relying on an existing brand. It established its own lore. And in my opinion, had a lot more care poured into it. In a total sense than Bionicle G2 did. Bionicle G2 was very much a let's retrofit Hero Factory, give it the brand name that is the big success, and see what happens, without much thought beyond that. From a theme concept. Of course, the sets are a different story. We'll save that. Anyway, Hero Factory 1.0 was as essentially this sort of like bridging theme where it's still very much using the bionicle system. The bionicle system is really the slicer system. And these first sets were definitely in that vein. CCBS changed the game. CCBS was a whole different thing. And honestly, when the 2.0 heroes came out, it was like, wow, look at this. This is great. This is the biggest revolution and library refresh of parts we've gotten since 2006. What a breath of fresh air. But this was like tiding us over. It's funny that the heroes are the way they are. I think it was probably a smart decision to downsize the heroes to the small sets, to the, I guess, the matoran size sets. It almost harkens back to 2001, where the Toa being the medium sets and the villains were the big sets. This time they've kind of shifted them down the totem pole. So the heroes are the small sets and the villains are the medium sets. It does add some level of threat where the villains are all bigger than the heroes. These guys are very much built in the vein of that Avmatoran style of building. You know, they carry on the Glatorian head and the helmet style that was established in 2009. They have the kind of click, 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 click building style where there's not really much technique involved. Like, not a single one of these sets include an axle or a pin. Axles and pins are built into pieces, and it is literally just a simple snap-together system. One thing I will say, though, is despite essentially being the Avmatoran system, which we had for 2008, 2009, and 2010, well, this is still 2010, it is still a brand new library of parts, similar to 2008. And a lot of these parts are really nice looking. Unlike the villains where we're getting bionicle recolors, these are bionicle compatible. Like, the limb design here is very much a very bionicle style limb. This thing fits right at home in G1 sets. It's almost like a modern version of the Mada limb, and it slots into the Avmatoran limb library pretty well. And we get it in a bunch of colors here. 5 colors, I believe. You get the blue from Stormer, the Keat Orange from Furno, black in Breeze and Bulk, silver in Surge, and orange on Stringer. And if you get the greatest Hero Factory set of all time, the Furno bike, you also get them in red. So that's a great piece. The body piece is interesting. It's similar to the Ben 10 piece. So the Ben 10 was like the Toa-sized wave for the stars, really, which is sad to say. And that had a very nice body. It was a very nicely shaped body. I don't think it's that versatile in terms of it is a large preformed piece, but the shaping is very humanoid. And that's maintained with this smaller version for these guys here. There are less connection points. The Ben 10 also had ball joints that allowed for extra limbs to be attached to, but doesn't stop the torso piece of these sets from looking really nice. I really do like the swoopy leg armor on these guys. It really does make the limb feel a little bit more special than an Avmatoran limb, mainly because it creates separation in the limb. With the, let's just pull up a picture of one of these guys so we can see it close up. It almost creates a little Metro thigh armor for the thigh, and then we can see where the knee is and the shin. It really makes it feel like a multi-piece limb. And you know what? I'm a big fan of kind of this bell-bottom style. Of course, the Glatorian introduced that piece as well. It looks really nice with these guys, and I do really like this kind of robot foot type piece. Can't really see it here, but they're like almost little jetpacks built out the back. The foot connects at a sort of angle that's very similar to the Horika foot, where the hand connector lies flat. It's a good piece. The body armors are a bit of a mixed bag. I think they're all pretty cool. But obviously, just like with anything, some are better than others. They use the Glatorian hand. I dislike the Glatorian hand a lot. The 2.0 CCBS version of this piece is much better. The biggest problem I have is this long-ass wrist. It just looks terrible. And it just doesn't scale well, especially with smaller builds. With Stringer on screen. We did get some exclusive colors. For example, Stringer came with this piece in black, and Bolt gave it to us in silver. It existed in lime from Tomb, existed in red. Yeah, I think those were the new ones. But yeah, the team is sort of split into two halves. There are the rookies and there is the alpha team. Alpha team has really cool weapons, but they all share a torso. Did I say the rookies? Yeah, the rookies, yeah. And then alpha team have these giant preformed arm weapon things, but have unique body pieces. That's sort of how they split up. So it's, and I'd argue these are the most controversial things about the alpha team sets. This preformed arm piece looks great from this angle and this angle alone. On the other side, and because it's a Lego product and they want to kind of hide their shortcomings, is completely hollow. And it also means these pieces are not very useful at all. They don't have a limb inside them, so with these guys you only get 3 of the new limb. And it throws off the color balancing because you don't have the through line of that base color on the inside of that. And the thing that actually irks me the most about this piece, well, second most, the thing that irks me the second most about this piece is the molding of the limb inside this thing, which in principle is cool, means the limb is actually shorter. Like visually you can see them here, that the supposed molded limb that's inside this is tiny compared to this limb. Really awkward, and that extends to the other ones as well. But worst of all, it's just completely unusable of a piece. You can't really fill it in, because then you have like a double hand going on. It is just a giant lump of plastic. And there is some cool design elements here. Like, I really like these speaker things. Just looking through the pictures here. This implied sort of ball launcher that Bulk has. Cool. Stormer having this little white ice projection thing. That's very Bionicle. That's such a not Nokama, Nuju Hordika style weapon. And, you know, got this Swiss Army action going on. They're very cool in principle, but it's just a giant lump of plastic, which is a shame. Of course, the rookies' weapons are all great. They're all good weapons. However, this is sort of where it splits here. While the weapons and the dual arms of the rookies are, of course, better, the overall look and vibe of the alpha team really stand out to me. Like, I think those 3 and their individual body armors are more appealing to me. So despite them essentially, I guess on paper, being the worst 3 because of the prefabbed arm, I think I just largely prefer them just through vibes alone. Their body armors are cooler than the other ones to me. Their masks are cooler, well, bar one. Yeah, there's just something about the vibe of the other 3. They really do feel like they're not rookies. They just look badass in comparison. One thing I will say about these guys is they kind of look hilarious. They are these weird little short, fat, barrel-chested little guys with stubby limbs. They look hilarious. They're like little, I don't know what to describe them as, but little fat guys running around. It's funny. They kind of look like little chibi type guys. And the Furno intro, like the Hero Factory intro animation that we did, animated by Advance, the guys who did all the Bionicle commercials, which is why it was also really good. It's a great intro commercial. Like, they make Inferno look badass, and he's running around, and he really is a little fat, chubby guy running around. It's kind of hilarious. And then, of course, with 2.0, they kind of smoothed out the proportions, and I think they look a little less stumpy going forward. But, yeah, there is this, like, stumpy charm to them. So, the Alpha Team look as badass as little stumpy guys can look, basically. Okay, I think that's enough waffle. Maybe if I talk about more Hero Factory stuff, I can go into some more of the details about the theme, because really, again, this first wave is very much we're transitioning out of the Slicer Bionicle system to CCBS, but this is just a Bionicle build just with new pieces, basically. Okay, I think in my last place, I'm going to put Surge. Surge is, I think, a very fan-favorite character. Every time I criticize any version of Surge, people seem to jump out the window and start crying. But maybe that's deserved. I don't know. Whatever. Surge. Why Surge my least favorite? Well, I think right off the bat, despite I think being when I was a kid, I would say blue was probably my favorite color. I've never been the biggest fan of Marder Blue. And that might sound really weird as a kind of Bionicle OG Like, oh, I like considering it's one of the original Marta colors, but it's just one of the most toyish colors, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It just falls towards the bottom of my favorite colors when it comes to these construction type figures. But that's a very, very minor aspect of it, to be honest. His secondary color is silver. And I think what was cool about the rest of the heroes is, aside from Bulk, whose primary color is silver, is they were definitely carrying over some of the elemental colors that we had kind of gotten back into Bionicle from the Glatorian, some of those older primary colors that just kind of pop. So getting silver as a secondary color after years and years of Bionicle silver feels less special than some of the other limb colors. It is more unique. Again, we'll come to it, but two of them are shared. But I think the Marta blue and silver, it's not the most striking of the color schemes. His helmet as well. I think a lot of people love this helmet. Of this batch, it's probably my least favorite. It's just the most boring. He has a zigzaggy kind of lightning back to it, which almost screams a little bit like Beric's, which I was not the biggest fan of that helmet either. And I think there's the front of the face with just a little square speaker mouth. It's one of the least interesting to me. I don't know if that's... I feel like a lot of people love this, and I just don't as much. It's fine. Even though the weapon is cool. And you almost see you have these like central energy generators, and you've got these lightning projections. Neat. And those are in trans yellow. The core is in trans yellow. They didn't recolor the Glatorian head, so it's one of the guys that doesn't actually match the Glatorian head. They keep the neon green color. So there's that mismatch. Some of these guys have a mismatch. And yeah, I guess that's probably about it. Everything about it's just my least favorite out of this group. The rookie armor is also my least favorite. It's a bit weird and buggy. I feel like it narrows so drastically. It's a bit weird looking. And the way the chest sits at the top really means the head almost looks like it's not well situated. It's weird. It's like when people don't know how to draw, and they draw female breasts and they draw the boobs up at the neck because they just don't know how anatomy works. It feels like these chest things are way too high and he's being suffocated by his chest armor. You can see where the shoulder actually is. Why is it all the way up here? I've always felt that about the rookie armor, which is why I think it's just the worst out of the four they did. But yeah, not too much to dwell on. Least interesting mask. Not one of the most exciting color schemes. Of the three good weapons, it's my least favorite of the three. I think Furno and Breezes are better. He also has the mismatched colors of the trans colors, so he can sit at the bottom. Okay. Then it's going to be Breeze. And again, it kind of hurts because like she has really, really cool weapons and the other guys have just like poo weapons, whereas Breeze is another mismatch. Breeze has a trans orange, neon orange head and a red hero core. Like the classic, like, it's not dark red, but standard trans red is quite dark. And I think this is one of the characters where the difference kind of shows quite drastically. Breeze has a very monochromatic color scheme, having the black limbs, but I'd argue it actually works really well. It feels like the Kongu and Nika of the wave, where they all have multiple colors, but there's just one with two. Which Bulk also has, actually, come to think of it. But anyway, it's very nice. I really like the grounded. I like the black kind of under theme and the lime on top. It's a very nice contrast. Her mask is really cool. It's really buggy. So if you've seen my reaction shorts, I often throw up a fucking prawn from District 9 to represent this face. It's like this weird bug alien thing, but it's kind of cool. It's a very nice mask. I like the eyebrows on it. It's just kind of creative. I like it a lot more than some of the Glatorian Agoria helmets. It's very neat. And her boomerang pistol harpoon things, I don't know what the hell they're supposed to be, but they're cool. Again, it has this like secondary color projection on top of the silver, which feels very Hordika weapon like, and that just looks really cool. So great weapons. I think the color scheme is far more striking than Surge. Cooler mask than Surge. Yeah, I like Breeze. Like, just there are ones that are better. But go away. That's not who you should be. I think... Okay, I'm going to speak about Furno next. Furno, the poster child of this wave. the best of these weapons. This is a really great weapon. It reminds me of the sword from Halo. It's just a really nice, well-designed piece. I like how it splits into two. The way they kind of sit together, the way you can use them individually, really great. The quiche orange and red color scheme is very good as well. I'm trying to cast my mind back. I think Furno has a trans green core. So I think this one is a match, but for some reason I'm now questioning myself. Whatever. Anyway, yellow and red. It felt like if this was trying to be the new Tahu, you'd go orange. But I like how they made a slight difference, even though in this picture it very much does look orange. Furno's mask. I think I have a picture of it here. To be honest, it's probably contender for the best helmet. This is a fantastic helmet design. I don't think it works for Bionicle, because I think part of what Hero Factory, at least from the Bionicle fans again, occupying that seat filling space, was like, this is just Bionicle parts pack. But it's almost explicitly, I think the mouth, I don't know. Whatever. It's not the most Bionicle of all of these. Like, I think Breeze would slot more into Bionicle, especially in the late tiers, a little bit easier than this one. But this is a really great helmet design. I like how it has like a hat brim to it. The overlapping kind of panels, the eye silhouette, everything. I love everything about this helmet. It's a fantastic, really well-designed thing. And I think by having quite a human mouth to it, it does feel like its own thing. It's just making a stance that, even though it uses the Bionicle kind of design basis, it's on a Glatorian head, it's using a lot of these sort of G1 type pieces, but this is its own theme. It has almost elements of like Transformers in it, I guess. I don't know. It's just a very, very well designed helmet. But again, where did you go, Furno? Just the body armor thing. It's difficult. I feel it feels wrong putting Furno at number 4. And I don't want it to be just such an explicit alpha team rookie split. So I'm gonna park Furno here for now. And let's go away, Surge. Go away. Let's speak Bulk next, just because he's there. Bulk is another monochrome color. But Bulk is great. I think he's definitely one of my favorite characters. The silver and the black is just super clean. He has the trans neon orange core, which matches the head, so that's a perfect match for him. His helmet looks great. That one would fit very much in with some of the Agori helmets. In fact, some of those no-name Agori, vehicle Agori, their helmets almost feel like they were becoming this. Like, this is like the next evolution of those. I think out of the formed pieces, this is one of my favorites. I do like the combos. You can see the fingers on the trigger here. He just looks super clean. I do find it interesting that that he actually has the most slender torso in a way, despite being named Bulk. But yeah, I really do like this torso piece. It is really nice. I'm gonna look up. We're gonna go on a little Google adventure again. I've always found weird through lines with that torso design and the Bionicle G2 mask. And I don't know if I'm just insane, but like there's a central figure, there's a central circle, the pistons on the side, the way it all tapers down. I don't know what it is, but this always has looked like Bulk's torso armor to me. Am I insane? Who really knows? There's just something weird about it, but Bulk is great. Another one with the monochromatic color scheme is great. Thinking about it as well, actually half of them have monochrome color schemes. Breeze, Bulk, and Stringer. Stringer. Let's just go move on to Stringer. Stringer is using the medium to the fullest. We are now outside of Bionicle. We don't have to stick to quote-unquote Bionicle rules. So why not do something wacky with it? This guy is littered with speakers. He has a speaker here, speaker here, speaker here, speaker here, speaker here, speaker here, speaker here. He has a thing from a guitar at the back here. This is using the medium well. This is, we no longer have to adhere to the seriousness, quote unquote, of Bionicle and stick into a theme. We're in a whole different universe now. We can do wacky new shit. And Stringer embodies that wholeheartedly. The vibe of Stringer is great. I love the orange and black, very Halloween. His face is super cool. I really love the implementations of that speaker theme. I also like how it's implied that he has like 4 eyes. I don't know if that is ever shown in media, but I feel like this is definitely designed to look like he has 4 eyes. Also cool. The speaker mouth here is much cooler than Surge's. And early on it was funny. He's obviously called Stringer because Jimmy Stringer, it's like a throwback to Jimi Hendrix, but I always felt like he looked bulkier than Bulk, and I would often just say that when I would get their names mixed up and call this guy Bulk. Yeah. No reason other than he's bulky. But very neat. Stringer's great. And then I guess last of all, we've got Stormer. Another one with a really great torso, really great body armor. Love that piece. It's a bit of a... He has an ice blue core. Doesn't quite match the head. Actually, no, I'm lying. That does match the head. Sorry. The Glatorian head is that icy blue. I've spoken about his weapon a little bit. It's my least favorite of the entire wave, actually. I think the stumpiness of the arm is really obvious. And I think with the other two being monochromatic, while you lose the pop of color in that arm, they both have black heavy color schemes, so it's almost like you can kind of squint your eyes and forget about it. This one being no blue in this arm is quite jarring. I think even I like the through line of the Hero Factory core here and all this stuff, but it's a bit of a cluttered mess, and yeah, it's definitely the worst weapon out of the whole wave. I do really like the color scheme of Marta Blue and White. Even though I was criticizing Marta Blue on Surge, this is just this follows the lineage from Ski Slicer to Sukurak to this now. Like this, I prefer Marta Blue actually as a accent color to White sets than as a primary color. It's just a really nice contrast, and Stormer lives and breathes that. So he's the representative of that color scheme for Hero Factory. His helmet is very cool. I don't know what it was with the Lego designers from 2009. They clearly loved Iron Man a lot, because this guy is like, if you put Frozone with his kind of Cyclops from X-Men inspired design, if you've got Iron Man and Frozone and mixed it up together in a pot, this is the helmet you get. Just from the mouth shaping and everything like that. It's so Iron Man. Even though it is a single visor, it's just the shape of it as well. If you split those eyes in the middle, this is just a weird underbite Iron Man Frozone guy. And while it feels derivative of lots of different things, it looks cool. It's a very cool looking mask. And this guy really does embody leader of the team. He definitely has a commanding presence to it. And that I don't think any of his other forms had. 2.0. Unfortunately, with them all using kind of homogenous type masks with different fittings, he kind of lost all of his kind of personality. Like, it's a completely cool functional set, but it doesn't scream leader. 3.0, again, there's something about that new head they came up with after the Glatorian head, and it being exposed, it just drained any individuality out of those characters. And then he was, a big fatty for Breakout. And then afterwards, he never got like a big set. Like his brain attack form is kind of shit. Yeah, I mean, his swag never really matched up to his 1.0. He never carried this vibe ever again, which is a shame because it's a very cool vibe. Stormer definitely like stands. You look at this guy and if you line him up, it's not hard to say this guy's the leader. And at least part of that, you can tell he's part of the kind of the experienced group. And that's, I think, an undersung element of these guys. You can, like, the fact that the rookies are split out, you can kind of tell that those guys are the rookies just through the way, I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. It feels like the sets carry themselves in a more amateurish way. Okay. I'm going to jump in and just put in the ones I definitely know. So, let me move this back here. Stringer is my favorite. Great color scheme, despite the head mismatch, because he uses a standard trans orange, similar to Jala Inaika's orange, but then has the Glatorian head, but it's 2 shades of orange, it's fine. Great looking build, looks tough. Shame about the one-piece arm, but the helmet rocks, the concept rocks, it just looks cool. Yeah. I don't think that's a hot take, I guess. I think the only thing... I feel like the weapons are going to be the thing that people disagree with the most. Like, your mileage and whether or not it ruins the vibe of these sets will vary. But Stringer and Vibes look using the concept of being free of bionicle shackles the best. Number 2 is Bulk to me. Another monochromatic color scheme, just looks cool. Great torso, probably my favorite torso design out of all of them. Silver and black and orange, it's just a very nice color scheme. And then I'm torn between these two. Like, Stormer's helmet is really cool, and so is Furno's. I'm almost wanting to give it to Furno. Furno's probably got the best helmet out of all of these guys, to be honest. And then his weapons are probably the best weapons out of all of these guys as well. But I don't like that rookie body armor. And I think I like Stormer's color scheme better. Which is funny, because these guys almost end up being like kind of the leaders. These two are definitely the main characters, especially early on. So it's funny that this is my head-to-head. I can't tell which I prefer. Stormer overall, cool color scheme, great body armor. Furno has the best helmet and best weapons. Which will I pick? Which will I pick? You know what? I'm gonna give it to Furno. I think having the best weapon and the best helmet is not something to discount. He has a very cool color scheme. I think Stormer's color scheme is better, but I have given these guys a lot of grace for the prefab arm, the preformed arm, which really does hurt those sets. And I think Stormer's being the worst of that bunch means he has to just take the 4 and be in 4th place. I think, yeah, his weapon isn't even in service of something like cool like the other two. It's just a Swiss Army bullshit go type thing. But yeah, okay. That's my ranking. I think, again, I can go back and forth on 3 and 4, but the rest of them, I think I'm pretty happy with where they sit. Let me know your thoughts. Do you want me to do more Hero Factory rankings? Do you want me to give more of a breakdown? I feel like I started going into my thoughts on Hero Factory and maybe didn't flesh them out all that well. So let me know if you want to see more of that. And yeah, okay, cool. Let me know what you want me to rank next, Hero Factory or Bionicle. Go watch Takeover, and you'll catch me in the next video. Bye.